Hi, I'm Dom from Mount Kimbie and you're watching Hold Up Now TV. Yeah, very excited to be in Bristol. I think we played here twice before and we've always had an amazing time. We played on the boat Thekla, and that was really good last time. Yeah, to be honest, this tour's been really amazing this time around. We didn't really expect the positive reaction that we've had because we've been out of the loop in Europe and the UK for a long time, and yeah, I guess it's just kind of built momentum, and yeah, it's really flattering and nice. Yeah, well, I think it's safe to say that really the Americans tend to be, some of them tend, well, really the majority tend to be a couple of years behind what we experience in the UK. So we've been pretty fortunate to have grown, a modest fan base over in America, and it was really interesting this time on the tour because we played a lot of small towns that we had never done before, and there were people who'd travelled from miles around and come to see the show. You know, there might only have been 19 of them or 20 of them, but they had come and made the effort to travel, and we spoke to them after the show, and it was a different experience to what we've had before. It was great, really nice. Oh, all the time, definitely. But yeah, I guess you just start to adjust to a certain way of life, and there's so many amazing things that we experience on the road with travelling and sightseeing and eating amazing food all over the place. So there's real pluses to it, and I guess we have learnt to appreciate time that we have at home with our family and friends way more than we did before. So I probably spend more quality time than I ever did with my family while I'm touring, bizarrely enough, because yeah, I just put all my energy into them and attention into them when I'm at home. From this summer, definitely there was a festival in, I forget whether it was Holland or Belgium. I think it was in Belgium. It's called Pukkelpop, and it was awesome. It was really a tent, and the lights were amazing, and yeah, it was one of those moments. I mean, we definitely had a few shows during the summer where it just doesn't, for whatever reason, work, and you feel quite deflated when you come off stage, but that was just a combination of everything that could have gone right happening at the same time. So it was a really amazing occasion for us. And then on the kind of other side of things, I guess we did a festival outside outside Los Angeles on the American tour, which was it was called a nature rave. So it was very odd, lots of hippies walking around, lots of naked people walking around, and it was just by a man-made reservoir in the middle of the desert in California. And I mean, so to say, it wasn't really our kind of regular crowd that we'd expect to play in front of, but it was quite memorable because we saw a lot of things that I never thought I'd ever see, and yeah, so that was more an experience as opposed to the actual show. But I always forget how much it shows when we are actually genuinely pissed off, because half the time we're kind of shrouded in darkness, so we forget sometimes that we're actually lit up. But yeah, I mean, we technical issues are something that I guess it's just the type of music that we do, and it's very specific to the sound system and so on. We really rely very heavily on good sound for ourselves and also for the audience as well, and also just small things like lighting and stuff. I mean, we're not the most confident on stage, let's say, and I mean we've certainly got better, but there's so many small little things that could change the kind of atmosphere that we create on stage for ourselves. So I guess that's just something that we're trying to learn how to become numb to, and really in any situation be able to deliver and really immerse ourselves in it, because we really want to. It's not that we try not to, but yeah, I guess it's just variables. Yeah, always. There's always things. We've just recently got a third member of the live band, a guy called Tony, who's a really good old friend of mine, and it's really changed the whole setup for us, obviously, but also the way that we think of the live show and think about it, and you know, make plans for the future. I mean, really, it's been a slow burner. We've done a lot of shows, but we don't have the musicianship to immediately, you know, make a massive leaps. It's always very small strides, so or very small steps. So yeah, I guess the live set is something that we're just constantly working at and constantly trying to change and evolve. I guess at the moment, apart from, I don't know what would really change. I mean, we haven't really had much time to rehearse, so there's a few songs that we're not doing at the moment that we really want to do in the future. So really getting those into the set list is our main priority at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, you've had about 6 months since you released your last album?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's such a weird thing. So I think I always feel as though we don't really have any idea how to explain how we think about our own music. We don't talk about it, and we don't have any dialogue about it at all. So you know, when it comes to the differences between records, we really don't notice them until afterwards, because it's all, to us, it just feels like the beginning of what we want to do and the sound that we want to create. And we had a quite a dark period just before, well, when we first started writing the latest album, where we couldn't find any sort of sound that we were interested by and excited by. So the last thing we wanted to do was replicate what we did with Crooks and Lovers. So much time had passed and our interests had changed, and what we wanted to achieve, I guess, had changed. So we bought some new gear and tried out a few things, and it just wasn't working. And then we just, I don't know why, but we suddenly sort of switched back into gear and really got on with it. And you get into a bubble when we're writing albums, and you think it's, I mean, Kai always says that he felt that there was at least one top 5 UK chart hit in there, and obviously you come out of it and you master the record and you listen to it at home and you're like, never in a million years would this make it into the charts. It's too weird for that. So yeah, I guess you're just in a bubble, and any changes are very natural, and they're you know, they're us being honest on record, and that's something that we just want to keep doing and doing. We never want to replicate what we've done before or feel as though we're conceding anything. We want to keep progressing. Key influences would definitely be, in terms of writing, I think where we are writing is, you know, I mean, it's a massive thing for anyone who's making music in a studio or anything like that, but the environment's very important. For me personally, I get a lot of inspiration from very odd places. For example, the studio that we had was in South Bermondsey in South London, and Millwall football ground was right next to the studio, and we went down there for a few games, and just the crowd noise was, for some reason, inspiring. Anything that I hear, you know, on YouTube or on television or anything can be an inspiration, really. And aside from anything kind of creative, my family are a massive influence, and my friends as well. And you know, the kind of environment that I have in my own home has always been a big influence on anything I've done, and music falls into that category. So yeah, and then in terms of live shows, I think we get a lot of inspiration from seeing other bands. We see so many bands at festivals and stuff, and some of them are really amazing, and I think we try and that's one of the occasions where we try and take an idea and consciously, you know, talk about it and say, oh, I'd love a bit of the set to sound like that show or that show. And that's the only time we really have a dialogue about it. I think collaboration's a weird one, because I think there's a lot of needless sort of almost forced, you know, collaboration for the sake of collaborating with people, and that's just not something that we want to do. I mean, obviously there's some amazing stuff out there, but for us personally, it's something that we haven't really leapt at, and it's not in the forefront of our mind. We've got so much to say still that we haven't said. You know, we don't really need someone else to say it for us. So the thing with Archie was that we had massive respect for the sound that he had and the way that he wrote songs and the way he performed live, and you know, I feel the same about a number of artists. But when we met up with him, there was definitely a kind of a spark and an energy that we were really searching for if we ever wanted to work with anyone. We definitely knew that that we wanted a voice, but we didn't know whether it was going to be myself or Kai singing on those songs. So he came in the studio, and it was just you know, really smooth and enjoyable process, and definitely a lot more needs to be done with him. There's a lot of stuff that he recorded with us that didn't make it onto the album because we didn't really have enough time to really, you know, finish those ideas. So there'll definitely be something else with him coming up. I hope if he doesn't go all the way up, which it looks like he might do at the moment. He's doing really well. And the other person is a rapper called John Wayne, who supported us in America, and he's just another one of a similar breed to Archie. Just, I guess they are slightly different, but in terms of the way that they approach their music, I think it's quite similar. And John just lives and breathes music all the time. He's constantly making beats and making up verses and stuff like that. And he ended up coming on stage for the US tour and doing "You Took Your Time," rapping over "You Took Your Time," which was amazing every night. It was always different, and there's something about those two. They have a kind of raw energy that I don't think you'd get from, you know, sending files over the internet. It's just the fact that they're very interesting people, and they've got a lot of very interesting things to say. And, you know, we wanted to combine the two. It does get annoying, definitely, but it's strange because I don't know. We do bitch about it a lot, to be honest, and amongst ourselves. And but the more I think about it, the more I realise that it's quite a. I think it adds to the whole experience of playing live. The fact that you're cabling everything yourself, and at the end of the night, you know, you had to tear it all down again, and it makes more, for me, it makes me, it kind of, I realise how much effort we put into it, and you know, there's a constant reminder of that every time we set up and pack down, because we've got pretty quick at it now, which is insane, but it's a lot to do. But you know, it's great, and having more equipment has been something that we haven't really wanted, but it was something that was very necessary, in that every piece that you see on stage is really the only thing we can use to replicate the sound that we want to. So you don't see it. There's no spare things around, so it's all just been added on. It's actually exactly the same stuff that we used to write the album with. It's all studio gear, so it shouldn't be flying around the world in boxes and getting smashed around, which we find out almost every day. There's always something broken or something.
I mean, I know people like Bonobo, they have whole concerts.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Definitely. I mean, we've got two. There's two guys. One is one half of the duo called Cloudboat. One guy called Sam, who plays trombone with us sometimes, and another guy called Andrew, who plays the saxophone. And we've done that a couple of times, and it's been great, and it's something that we definitely want to do in the future. But we need to pay these people. We can't really do that at the moment. If we had our way, I think we'd have way more people on stage. But at the moment, I think the way we see the live show is very much the same way we see the production. Is that it's just, for us, it's the tip of the iceberg, and we want to keep building it. And you know, the time that the situation we're in at the moment is a very important one to be in, because we're learning a lot by you know, just coming up against things that go wrong and trying to work out stuff without having enough hands and stuff like that. Just really kind of, you know, getting down to it, sort of thing. So.
What can we expect to see from you guys next year then?
Well, we are trying to write at the moment, and ideally we'd love to do an album a lot sooner than the gap between the last two. Also, I'm sure there's going to be a few things collaborative, maybe some stuff with Archie, maybe some stuff with John, and maybe someone else who suddenly comes on the scene. But yeah, just really more music and probably the odd show as well. We just need some time to kind of settle our thoughts after this, whirlwind thing we're on at the moment, and get back to kind of base and start working out some things. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some more music. Well, yeah, I mean, it's quite. I think we've been quite fortunate in that for both albums, the artwork as well. It felt as though it really meant something to the people who did it and who did them, and they added things like videos and stuff afterwards, and kind of were keen to stick with the project. So with that album, it was a guy called Tyrone LeBon, who was suggested to us by management, and he had these kind of not concrete but amazing ideas that were all sort of scribbles all over the page kind of thing. And one of them was that he wanted to take a lot of photos in the area we were living, which is in Peckham in South London. And he went out and he must have taken a good few hundred photos, and we just sat down and we had to choose, which was a very difficult task. But that image definitely stuck out from all of the ones that we got. And that lady hopefully doesn't know or will never see the album, because we certainly didn't sign it off or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's with that album, it was quite important for us to. I think it felt as though it had more of an identity, a realistic identity, a reality, as opposed to the latest one, which was a bit more sort of psychedelic and inside ourselves. So that one was, lived in that part of London, and the photos really, sort of paid homage to that fact. And also the videos that followed, he kind of adopted a similar sort of style, and we sent him around the world, and he took loads of photos, which are actually the visuals we still use today. But yeah, that album cover is just on Peckham High Street, and yeah, it's a pretty interesting road. You see a lot of characters along there, and I guess that's just a sort of everyday sight in that part of London.